The sun had just started to dip below the horizon when I saw her white SUV again, polished, spotless, and utterly out of place on the dirt road that led to my ranch. It shimmered like a sore thumb in the amber glow, a suburban spaceship descending on a patch of dust and stubborn pride. I didn't need binoculars to recognize the driver. The gleam of her oversized sunglasses was enough. Karen, president of the Lakeview Homeowners Association. A woman who'd never met a rule she couldn't weaponize, or a boundary she couldn't ignore. My gate creaked as the chain rattled in protest. She slowed, just enough to size it up, then pressed the gas. The metal groaned. The lock popped loose. The wooden beam gave a tired cry as it swung open, scattering dust. She didn't even glance my way as she rolled through, one manicured hand on the wheel, the other holding a phone, barking into it about property aesthetics and community compliance. My cattle scattered from the noise, startled into motion, tails whipping. I stood on the porch, coffee cup in hand, watching her drive across my land like she owned the damn place. It wasn't the first time. The gate marked the invisible line between what was mine and what wasn't, but to her, it might as well have been a speed bump. The WA had been creeping closer for years, buying parcels, planting signs, building roads that cut too close. And every time I reminded them where their development ended and my world began, someone like her would come along, certain that country dirt should bow to city rules. I waited for her to leave before I went down. The chain was twisted now, one link bent from where her bumper must have nudged it aside. My boots crunched over gravel as I squatted to inspect it. I could see the faint tracks of her tires, small arcs curving off toward the back trail that connected to the new cul-de-sac her people had built. She didn't even have the decency to reverse out the way she came. That was the first time she'd done real damage. The other times, well, those I could almost forgive. Once she'd parked, just to take a phone call. Another time, her gardener had accidentally left bags of clippings near my fence. But the chain, that was different. It wasn't an accident, it was a message. The next morning, I drove into town for supplies. When I returned, there was an envelope pinned to my gate with a bright yellow pushpin, bold handwriting scrawled across it, ATTN, property owner. Inside was a printed letter on Lakeview wall letterhead, complete with a seal, as if I were being summoned to court. Greater than dear neighbor, it has come to our attention that the gate on your property obstructs shared access to the community maintenance road. Per Section 12B of the Homeowners Code of Conduct, you are required to submit a permit for any barrier that may impede access by emergency or official WA vehicles. Failure to comply within 10 days may result in penalties or fines. Warm regards, Karen T., WA President. I read it twice, then laughed out loud. Shared access. That maintenance road was a ranch trail that had existed long before their subdivision had been poured into the earth. There were no emergency vehicles here, just my tractor, a few cows, and an old dog that hated the sound of car engines. That night, I fixed the chain again. I reinforced the post, hammered the lock tight, and hung a new sign, private property. Do not enter. Trespassers will be reported. I didn't expect it to change anything, but it made me feel better, like a soldier redrawing a battle line. The next afternoon, I caught her again. Not driving this time, filming. Standing on the opposite side of the gate, her phone lifted, narrating something about illegal obstruction. When I approached, she smiled, that practiced brittle grin people wear when they think the law's on their side. Afternoon, I said evenly. Mr. Lawson, isn't it? She replied, pretending not to know. We're just documenting. This gate, you see, it violates Section 12B. It's about safety. Safety, I repeated, leaning on the fence post. From what? My cows. She tilted her head, expression sweet as poison. From liability. If someone in the community needs to access the maintenance path, say, a landscaper or an HOA inspector, they shouldn't be inconvenienced by all this. She gestured vaguely at the lock, at my fields, as if the land itself were clutter. I took a slow breath. You do realize this isn't part of Lakeview, right? You're standing on my property line. There's no maintenance path. Never has been. Her smile froze for a fraction of a second before she recovered. Boundaries can be interpreted differently, she said lightly, like it was small talk. We'll let the board decide. Then you tell your board, I said quietly, if they want to interpret anything, they can do it from the right side of that gate. She laughed, a sharp, brittle sound that carried no warmth, and turned back to her SUV. Don't worry, Mr. Lawson, we'll handle it through the proper channels. When she drove away, she hit the gate again. Not enough to break it this time, but enough to make it swing wide open in her wake. Over the next few days, I started noticing new things. Tire marks again, deeper this time. A few footprints near my barn. A small, metal device, a camera, mounted on the post near the gate, aimed inward. She'd actually installed surveillance on my land. The arrogance of it burned deep, slow, and steady. I didn't touch it. I wanted proof. I took pictures, logged dates and times, even measured the tracks. It wasn't anger anymore. It was strategy forming, something cold and meticulous. I'd dealt with bulls that were easier to reason with than that woman. But bulls, at least, respected fences. The last straw came on a Sunday. I was tending to the water trough when I heard her SUV again. She wasn't alone this time. There were two others with her, clipboard types. They parked inside my gate, chatting, measuring, pointing toward the old oak tree by the fence line. Like they were plotting an expansion, or worse, a claim. I walked up, slow and steady, boots crunching, not saying a word. They noticed me halfway across the pasture and stiffened. Karen, ever the diplomat, waved. Just surveying, she said brightly. Community planning, nothing personal. I stopped 3 feet from her and looked her straight in the eyes. You're trespassing. Oh, please, it's just on camera, I interrupted, pointing to the small GoPro clipped to my belt. Every second of it, that made her blink. For the first time, she didn't have a quip ready. I've got your license plate,